What's up, guys? How's it going? Welcome back to another podcast. I just ate, had about 8 ounces of steamed veggies and 6 ounces of grilled chicken. I'm going to have a new day in the life vlog style video up on the main channel soon. Other than that, drinking a protein shake. These are actually pretty good. These are the Core Power. This one's 26 grams of protein, and these are good. 170 calories, 6 grams of carbs, 4.5 grams of fat. So, good macros. Anyway, wanted to go over a few things. And again, I don't really script these out, but when I do start these podcasts, I do have bullet points that I do like to go over and cover. Now, as you guys know, and I mean, I watch Dave Ramsey, not as much lately, but I still like to stick to the principles in order to budget, to build wealth, and all that. And if you, I hate car payments, and I have a vehicle that's paid off, and if you buy a car, here for an example, and this is what George Camel, one of the Dave Ramsey personalities, posted. Let's say you buy a car for $40,000, you drive it off the lot. A minute after driving off the lot, it's worth $36,000. A year later, $32,000. 2 years, $27,000. 3 years, $23,000. 4 years, $19,000, roughly, and 5 years, $16,000. And then here's the kicker: after 70 months of payments, you've got a paid-off car that you bought for 40 grand that ended up costing you 50 grand because of interest. That's now only worth 16 grand because of depreciation. So, as astronomically stupid as that is, there's people who are buying new cars on payments, or worse, leasing them. Now, if you have the money to do that, that's great. Like Ramsey says, I'm not mad at you if you have the money, but make sure what you own doesn't own you, okay? So if you're rich, or if you can afford whatever, then great. That's awesome. I'm happy for you. That's what I'm working towards. But if you're poor, it's like, why in the hell would you spend... And I'm not trying to talk down to the girlfriend. I'm supportive. I'm like, hey, this is good. I was optimistic and positive about it. Obviously, she was a little down in the dumps because she had a vehicle, and it's, I don't know the exact amount, but roughly $500 a month, and then plus insurance. And it's like, we have the work van. Our boss lets us drive. She can use my car if she wants. We'll split the insurance, the Honda. It's been sitting, but I started up once a month, or once a week. Other than that, that 500 we can put towards our van. I say our because it's in my name, but again, when you're in a relationship, you go there to give, to help each other grow and become more. So it's you and your partner versus the problem. So when we're arguing, first of all, we barely argue, but it's like I shift it. It's like a paradigm shift. If you've read the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, then it just depends how you look at things, right? I try to be positive, and it's like cancer patients. If they have a positive outlook, they're more likely to have a positive outcome, to not get cancer again, to completely get rid of it and all that. I don't, not 100% of the time, but it definitely helps, according to studies. Anyway, 500 plus insurance. It's like, okay, you can invest a portion of that, a percentage of it. We can put it towards our van build. We have the work van we can drive. We have the Honda, which is a great car. It's got 250,000 miles on it, but it does have a rebuilt engine. So, and I've never had any issues with that car. It's never broke down. Again, guys, I'm like, I shouldn't have sold the 99 Corolla that I bought for $1,000 in 2018. But I had that car for 5 years. The Honda Accord is a little bigger, and it's more on par with the Toyota Camry. The Corolla was a great car. I'm not doing as much customization to the Accord as far as like a roof rack and seat covers and all that. I'm just using it as an A to B car when we're not using the work van. But honestly, I haven't really had to drive anywhere lately. But anyway, yeah, the Corolla, I ended up selling it for about what I paid for it 5 years later, man. So I bought it with 199K miles, and sold it with 260. So I put 60,000, which is about the average in that 5-year period, which is great. So anyway, but it's third grade math, like Dave Ramsey says. And sometimes it's good to have a chip on your shoulder. I got 2 chips. You want to know why? That motivates you. And motivation fades. It's more about dedication, right? And self-discipline. But Otherwise, if you don't have those chips on your shoulder, you're just, if you're complacent, if you're in your comfort zone, if you're not pushing to that next level, then that's not good. If you're not growing, you're dying. Stagnant pond water, man. It just sits there and it's stagnant. So you're either moving up in life and thriving and making it happen, or you're just complacent with where you're at and you're slowly decaying over time. Not overnight, but over time. It's nothing ever really stays still. Maintenance. I mean, so as far as me, I'm trying to push harder on these workouts instead of just walking and getting in 2,000 steps. What I want to start incorporating when it's not 110 degrees out, which is right around the corner. It's like a 112 here today, but we're almost to October. It'll start trending downwards. I'm going to start incorporating sprint intervals, and I've been doing, as far as my morning routine, I like Arnold Schwarzenegger says, just do, don't think. Because once you start thinking, you're like, you can talk yourself out of it about going to the gym, about a lot of things. Just make it a habit. So what I do in the mornings, after I get out of bed, I brush my teeth, obviously, use the restroom, and then I weigh myself before I eat anything. And I still weigh myself every day. But again, if you trade 10 pounds of fat for 10 pounds of muscle, then the scale's not going to reflect any change, right? So I go more off of body composition in the mirror, how I look, how I feel, how my clothes are fitting, and all that, as well as how many reps and sets and weight that I can lift and do in the gym, or at home. So anyway, back to the morning routine thing. After doing all that, I will do my push-ups and lunges. So just make it as a habit, 0.01 times 10 is better than 0.00 times 10, which is going to equate to 0. So just 1% better each day. Keep on building and adding and making it happen. And you might not be where you want to be at. That's fine. There's no shame in being weak. There's shame in staying weak and not putting in the work and making it happen, ignoring the naysayers and pushing towards your desired outcome, your desired goals. That's exactly what Arnold Schwarzenegger did. He was in Austria. I read his book, Total Recall, and his family just wanted him to be an average, Austrian worker, have a boring job. And he's like, hell no, I'm going to be, he worked out 4 or 5 hours a day. He was in the Austrian army for a year. Again, a lot of details that I could go, this podcast will be pretty long if I do that. But anyway, as a short general overview, and most people know this, he went on to win 7-time Mr. Olympia. He almost won it in 1969. He lost to Sergio, but it was close. They were the last two up there on the stage. But he came back 1970. He won it through 1974. I think he was going to retire in 74. And then 75, he competed and won again because they were filming the Pumping Iron documentary. And then that came out in 77. And then he won again in 1980. That one was a little controversial because he didn't really train as long, only 8 weeks, which is short for a bodybuilding prep. I went over this in another podcast, but I would rather see how lean I can look just naturally to me. I mean, I get it, steroids and all that. If you're competing for Mr. Olympia these days, you have to, but I don't want to, to me, that's cheating as far as because I'm not competing in anything, if I was, it'd be like a men's physique, natural, but not, but I probably don't have the genetics for it. I'm kind of not exactly, I'm all right, but obviously not that genetically gifted. It would be nice. It's like Stallone. He was only when he was shredded for Rocky and Rambo, 4 or 5% body fat, whatever. He was only there was a 90-pound difference between him and Schwarzenegger, both in their primes. Schwarzenegger was obviously bigger, but Stallone still looked great. Shredded and everything, tons of muscle, lean muscle mass, and all that. So that's what I'm working on. If you focus on more like calisthenics, you'll tend to have more like the Bruce Lee physique, which is great too. That's just where you're not as bulked up, but you're still ripped and just a smaller frame. Me, I'm about 6 foot 6'1". I've kind of changed my approach other than the workout side of things. I'll still get in my steps and everything, more towards resistance training. But as far as nutrition goes, trying to incorporate, now I wouldn't say a dirty bulk. There's a clean bulk and a dirty bulk, where you're just eating whatever in sight. I still want to focus on nutrient dense foods, but I want to eat more and not feel so because you need carbs, right? And if you don't have enough carbs, it helps fuel your workouts, and it makes you look more, the carbs bind to water molecules in the muscle, just makes you look more filled out. So that's why before they go on stage for a bodybuilding prep, they'll like deplete their carbs and everything. They'll have a little bit, but that way it looks more defined and just like a drier appearance. But anyway, that's another podcast. But so just trying to just where I have enough, like more energy, not so much of a calorie surplus or too much of a deficit, you know. But I want to strike the right balance, right, and then continue to build lean muscle mass. And obviously, I got to put in the. It's not just abs are made in the gym. That's great, but I'm not trying to. If I was only doing cardio right now, I would, I'm trying to build muscle, right? I'm not trying to look like too skinny and like a twig. I want to build up, and then if you add a little bit of fat along the way, that's okay. It's called body recomp. So build up, and then from there you can cut body fat, cut calories, and preserve lean muscle mass. Nick Bear was doing this when he was doing his bodybuilding prep, and he was still running, and then he backed it off to where he was just walking or doing other types of cardio besides running, and because that can affect muscle building as well, and vice versa. If you have too much muscle mass, that's just going to weigh you down on a long run. Now, if you're a hybrid athlete, that's great. That's where you're not too bulked up, but you have the muscular endurance. So it's not just about the cardio. You have to have the muscle endurance as well to keep pushing through and push beyond what you think your comfort zone is. Once you hit that wall, you just gotta keep going. Easier said than done, I know, but once you do it, the first time you're like, hey, I did this before, I can do it again. And you gotta have the right nutrition, especially like during a marathon. Otherwise, you're gonna bonk. You're gonna not have enough carbs or whatever. And it's like you gotta train with the fuel that you're gonna be using during the race, because if you don't, like some people just grab whatever on the course. So you're grabbing Go gels, bars, all this stuff, and it just overloads your stomach, especially when you're running, because all that blood's going to the extremities, to your legs and all that, to run, not to your stomach to digest. So you're going to end up throwing up or having to go to the restroom or whatever mid race, and that's going to affect your times on the final score, the final finish time. But yeah, the correct nutrition, and I'm just trying to put in the work every day, and it's 1% better each day, like they say. So other than that, guys, I don't want this vlog to go on too long, or this podcast. I will have more content coming your guys' way. That's about it for now. So if you want to help support the channel, I have Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, and Zelle. We will be continuing to put in the work. I'm excited, especially now that it's going to be cooling down in October finally, and we're going to probably go on some camping trips. Since we're still building out the van, the girlfriend and I will probably just take the tents, the sleeping bags, maybe for overnight or a weekend trip or whatever. Depends on our work schedule. But yeah, look forward to that as well. And got some more stuff in the works. So stay tuned. I will see you guys in the next one. Keep on trucking.